What's up, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this big ball we call home. You're back with me today, your host, Ian Kane, and a big welcome to this week's installment of DappRadar Meets. The date today is Wednesday, September the 14th. I'm going to apologize in advance for my rather hoarse voice this week. I just got back from the DappRadar annual meeting in Barcelona, and we've had a fantastic week of workshops, team building, and product discussions. DappRadar's come a long way since 2018. So we spent the time overviewing our 4 years, and we've been celebrating the kind of transformation from a small Lithuanian startup to a leading global business with a diverse team in more than 25 countries. It was really crazy. It was it was amazing, to be honest. But yeah, very productive, very fun, but obviously also very tiring. So I'm a little fragile, to say the least. But as somebody screamed into the microphone at the karaoke the other night, the show must go on. So here we go. DappRadar Meets is all about throwing light on dapps and projects in the Web3 space. More importantly, getting inside the heads of founders, project leaders, and marketeers to uncover their strategies, motivations, and ideas. Blockchain gaming really is the talk of the town right now, and it's driving adoption to levels we've not seen before. So we've got a few of the guys in from Kongregate, and they're here to talk to us about a new project called Bitverse. Also today, we wouldn't be doing things properly if we didn't have a nice giveaway. So these lovely gentlemen have given us 2 common Bitverse NFTs, and we have 10 allow list spots as well available. So all you have to do is go to Twitter, follow DappRadar on Twitter, retweet the live stream, tag a few of your friends, and see if you're one of the lucky ones. All right, so let's jump into our session for today. How are you guys all doing, firstly?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing good.
Nice.
Doing well.
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. So yeah, I'm doing fine. Just my slightly bedraggled voice, I guess, is the only thing. All right. So let's jump in, guys. I want to start off by kind of letting the listeners know what Kongregate is about and the fact that you've got this kind of 2-prong approach, game distribution, game publishing. Can you tell us a little bit about Kongregate, please, just to start things off?
Yeah, sure. Kongregate, we've been around 16 years now. We started out early on as like YouTube for Flash games on the web, right? And over time, we introduced microtransactions, moved our way into the free-to-play world, got into mobile publishing, had some huge breakout hits in that space. And more recently, as we saw Web3 rising, we thought, this is really a lot of what we were doing in Web 2. But with new technology behind it, right? So we started pivoting around 2019. I started doing a lot of proof of concept tech integrations with blockchain stuff. And, about a year ago, around now, actually, we said, let's go all in on this and let's revive our web platform, publishing, and just do everything we did for the Web 2.0 world in Web 3 and be, the best citizen we can.
Wow, that's a long history, guys. Like 16 years prior. That's a great setup to get us into this session, I think, so people know what kind of history you're coming from, what you're all about, and how you've been rolling so far as well. So we spoke about Kongregate a little bit there, but we're here to talk about your latest kind of baby, as I'll call it. It's the Bitverse, and you've got an NFT pre-sale that's happening right now, and it's catching a lot of attention. I've got a short video I want to throw out there first before we kind of dive into everything, just to give people the visual, to give people the idea of what we're talking about here. So I'm going to put that up, sit back, relax, enjoy your creation, and then we'll jump in, all right? Appears we have some technical difficulties on the video side. Let me play with that. But in the meantime, let's get back to things. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll pull that back. I'll fix that while we're talking. All right, gents. Okay, cool. So Bitverse is the new baby, and shouts to the live audience today. If any of you have got any questions you want to throw out to the team, please do get involved. We're streaming across a couple of different platforms today, so you just have to type your question into the comments, and I'll see that over here, and we'll try and get that over to the team. Okay, so don't be shy. Get your questions in. All right then, gentlemen, let us begin. I want to start with a quick introduction of who I'm talking to today. So could can everybody here kind of outline who they are, what they do at the company, and give us a little taste of your history and what you're all about. But maybe we'll start with Jorge, then we'll go on to Max, and then on to Donnie.
Sure. So my name is Jorge Gonzalez. I am the VP of product here at Kongregate on our blockchain vertical. I've been working in the gaming industry for roughly 10 years now and 4 years at Kongregate. I've worked on mobile games, I've worked on PC games, and now I'm working on blockchain games. And yeah, that's me. I'm a big games enthusiast. I've always, been a Blizzard kid for my whole life. And I'm kind of, fulfilling the dream here, living the dream and having a great time.
Very nice. How about the kind of blockchain side, the crypto side? Is that something you've been into for quite a while, or is this kind of more from the gaming perspective you're looking at it?
I've always been, I've been on the last couple of big crypto waves. I've been part of that, but just at the wrong moment. I entered at the wrong moment all the time. So I think the first one was like 2017. I think it was when the first kind of big kind of wave came in right off of people, and I was among those. Lost a bunch of money, and then came back, did some investments here and there. Those did well, and ever since I've been around taking a look at it, and just like last year, I think we started to hear a lot about games being developed in the Web3 space and blockchain space, right? And I started I'm someone very curious myself, so I started to kind of connect the dots and see like where things were going, and decided to do this with Max.
That's nice, man. So Max, tell us about yourself. I see those skateboards in the background. We touched on that. Obviously, we're not here to talk about skateboarding, but I'm loving that. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Max Murphy. Yeah, skating like 30 years. It's just my thing. So I'm CTO at Kongregate. I've been here 8 years, which is also how long I've been in the game industry. Prior to this, I've worked across, everywhere from cloud technology to video transcoding tech and all kinds of different industries and consulting years. So been in Kongregate here 8 years, lifetime gamer. I mean, I remember playing on the Commodore and the Tandy color computer, like back in the days where I had to transcribe newsprint code into the computer to play like tic-tac-toe and hope we didn't turn the thing off so that my game would still be in RAM. And I love new technology. I've always been a technologist in like some way or shape, and been in the technology industry 24 years now. And I like being cut by the bleeding edge, and that's what really brought me into the blockchain stuff. Like, those cuts feel good in some ways, and this is a way to do that with something that I love. And I love gaming and I love technology, and putting these two things together, especially blockchain tech and games, and how much it makes sense in a lot of ways for agency and ownership, that like it changes the game in a lot of ways. So
I like that. It does appear. Yeah, it does make sense. It seems like a very logical progression of the space, right? It doesn't feel like we're forcing this. It does feel they're very logical. Just to acknowledge, I think we've lost Donnie on the call here because I think he's dropped out with signal. Hopefully he'll come back. Maybe one of you guys could drop him a message and see if he's having a problem. But we will continue because hopefully he'll be back soon. All right, cool. So thank you guys for giving us that little introduction about yourself. So the key message here, I think, is the long-term history in gaming for both of you gentlemen. Very clued up on that scene and very involved in that for a long, long time. So, all right, cool. So let's talk about what is the Bitverse, and kind of like tell us something about everything about this project. What is it, and why is it kind of, give us the value proposition, I guess, and why is it unique for its users?
Sure. I can go ahead and take that one. So what is the Bitverse? That's an excellent question. The Bitverse is first and foremost a metaverse of games, right? Of different genres. That means different types. That means, we're going to have games that are RPGs, games that are endless runners, games that are, MOBA-like or maybe Battle Royale-like around. And all of those games are going to basically be built around this central kind of IP, right, which is Beat Heroes. Beat Heroes has been part of the Kongregate family since 2016. It's originally was an RPG game built for web that we published on mobile, as Max explained, when he was talking about our history. And it's something that when we were thinking about like, hey, we want to do something in blockchain, we want to bring an interesting game to here, like that's what I pitched, right? Because to us, Beat Heroes has a lot of the components that are making different communities and projects great. Yeah. It's a game that was developed like being very close to the community in the first place. It's a game where there's a lot of customization and self-expression, right? And I think that's also something that people love about a lot of the NFT projects from these days. And it's a game that, to be honest, has like a unique art style, right? It's like very 8-bit style, retro gaming, and I think it's very welcoming to everyone.
It's very friendly, like I agree. Yeah, it's very welcoming, as you say, and it must. You guys, given what you said about your backgrounds, the graphic style, this is your vibe, right? This is your thing. This is intentional. Just that's why I wanted to put that out there. Like it's that kind of genre that you guys are into, right?
Yeah, I mean, you ask anyone at the company like top 5 games, and something in this style is going to be on that list, whether it be like a Squaresoft game, Final Fantasy 16-bit, 8-bit era, or something along those lines. A lot of players also love Stardew Valley and things like that, and these all just kind of fit together in that world of stylistic, just like nostalgia plus how far can you push it with technology today.
Yeah, cool. I see we've got Donnie back. So Donnie, I want to just come back to you, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Donnie? I'm sorry we lost you there for a sec. Give us a little bit of your background and what you do, and what you're currently doing and what you're working on right now. That would be great.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think I lost my internet or the computer or something. Anyway, I'm back now. My name is Donnie McCollum. I'm a senior product manager here at Kongregate. I have responsibility over the Bitverse itself, particularly the blockchain components and the NFTs and eventually tokenomics and whatnot related to the Bitverse. I didn't hear Jorge and Max's part, but I'm assuming they talked about their length of time and how long they've been working there. I'm a little bit more of a newer person, both at Kongregate and also to the video game industry. I started at Kongregate about 4.5 months ago. Prior to that, I worked for a major financial institution where I did strategy and analysis and product over there. I came over here, because I do love video games, but even more so than that, I love blockchain, crypto technology. I love decentralized. I wanted to get out of centralized finance and come over to the DeFi, decentralized area, and here I am.
That's nice, man. You're like the DJ in the gang, right? These guys are smart. You're the guy that's completely accurate, right? You're working on the tokenomics, and so interesting. You wanted to jump out of traditional finance. What kind of lures you into the crypto world, Donnie?
So I've been a investor in crypto for quite a while, and also just really interested in the whole space. When NFTs really exploded last year, I started to become aware of them. A year and a half ago, I started to get involved in some of the projects, some of the NFT gaming. Nice. I don't want to get too much into it, but on the centralized side, there were just certain things I didn't like that was going on in centralized finance and concentration of certain capabilities within fewer and fewer hands over time. And the crypto and blockchain really holds that promise of being able to open everything back up. And also, if I want to throw one more thing on there, this is probably, to me, the most revolutionary thing that's come along since probably the internet came along. And I could just imagine that, what it must have been like to work in the early days of the internet, say back in the 90s. And I think this is probably where we're at right now. And so that's just really exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're working in one of the most interesting industries in the world. And as you say, yes, it is likened to being in the 90s in the internet .com boom. It's super exciting. But yeah, also just to throw it out, as you say, we're in the middle of this kind of evolution of where we're headed, right? We're definitely not there. We're getting there. So yeah, thank you, Donnie. And I'm sorry about that loss. I think it's internet on my side, actually, but no problem. All right, cool. So actually, I asked the question to Jorge, Donnie, about what makes the Bitverse unique for users, and maybe you also want to add on to that a little bit because of you're specifically working in that area. So do you want to talk about that a little bit in terms of why is it unique? Sort of maybe you can touch on the tokenomics slightly as well in that regard.
Yeah, and excuse me if I'm going to duplicate some of what Jorge said because I didn't catch all of his answer, but I think the biggest thing for me, what makes it unique is unlike some other projects, we're game first. Like our first game has already been around since 2016. It already has an existing, very large, very vocal, very active community going on. And we're taking this existing game and kind of evolving it from Web 2 to Web 3. And that has caused us to have a lot of our thinking going on early to that transition of the game. How do we take a game that's already working? How do we evolve it? How do we make it so our existing player base is happy? And how do we start to transition them? And then also, how do we start to bring in new folks into the space? I think the perfect example of that is that we've been focusing first on the NFT hero, which I'm sure we'll get more into as this AMA goes on, and not so much actually on our token. Like, we haven't launched our token yet. Our token won't be coming along until probably early 2023. So our focus has been on the aspects that most directly go into the game and impact the gameplay.
That's a really strong point that you put in there, Donnie. I think it's about the fun, it's about the game, it's about the gameplay. I think that's really important at this moment in time. We're seeing many projects launching that are not quite so much about the gameplay and things like that. So good, nice to get that out there. Definitely. Very cool. All right, cool. One question I'm kind of asking, I'm thinking around now is because you've got this community of gamers that were used to playing a sort of more traditional game that didn't have any tokenomic value or NFT model or anything included. How do you find their response to your shift in tactics? I guess is it? Well, you guys tell me. You know better.
So it's a mixed bag. I don't know.
It's a mixed bag. I would say though, like for the most part of the year, it's been very challenging because they heard the words blockchain, NFT, and they immediately thought there was something very wrong with that. So a lot of the communication efforts in conversations that we've had with them have been towards like, hey, we're working with Immutable X, which is carbon neutral. It's like a lot more efficient. We're very concerned about those things as well as you are, but we believe in the tech. We believe in what this can do. And I think that over the last month in particular, we've seen that sentiment changing. Like, we are very active on our Discord, and I see more like we separated the Discord a little bit, right? Because we had like the Web3 community and the Web2 community, and sometimes at the beginning they clashed a little bit with each other. But lately, I think over the last 2 weeks in particular, we're seeing more people from the Web2 community coming to the Web3 part, and we're talking with them, and it's like they're getting excited about this, right? And I think what they wanted to feel like at the end of the day is that we were building something fun, that this was not only to raise money fast, and I think Donnie touched on that. We're game first, right? And as a matter of fact, like we are retrofitting the original Bit Heroes, but we're launching 2 more games this year, right? And there's gameplay out there that people have seen, and they're getting excited about it, right? And by focusing on just like the fun component, I think we've managed to turn around the sentiment a lot.
Interesting. Would you say that the way I'm seeing it now, and it's interesting what you said about the last couple of weeks, maybe some of your Web3 advocates are inadvertently onboarding your Web2 community? It's not always you guys having to convince them. Maybe the guys that have seen the benefits, are they kind of jumping in and saying, hey, this is a good thing to do? Is that happening there organically?
I do think it is. I mean, we get on AMAs, interviews, podcasts, et cetera, and we start talking about, our true intentions in the space and what we're doing. Like I said earlier, our intention is to be the best citizen we can. And with that, I'm seeing the shift everywhere, like in our Discord for platform, even where some of our most critical users are even saying like, oh, this really makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. And once that we get through that education phase, I mean, it's just like the internet early on, right? Like, I'm never going to put my credit card in a website. Now everyone's just like credit card, right? And it's a different world. Like you were saying, you know, the late 90s, I was part of the industry back then. And yeah, this is a lot like that.
You feel those same friction points, those same kind of education gaps. It's all there, right? People are either completely leaping into it and absorbing it, or they're a little bit hesitant and scared. And we need to kind of help.
And as we look at the early internet, it was what onboarded the most people. It was things like America Online, CompuServe, et cetera, the friendly hand-holding, explain it like I'm five kind of world of hand-holding and trust. And that's our goal as Kongregate.
I really believe that as well. Yeah, it's a really strong point, right? And another thing I wanted to add that I read, you guys are fully funded. So this is not, you don't need to raise funds to develop this game. That's, again, why you mentioned earlier about the token. You're not releasing a token. You don't need to do that in order to support this title. So I think that's a really strong point as well to put in there with you guys. And again, it goes back to that. It's all about the game. It's all about the fun. The tokenomics is there because it makes sense, but not as the main driver, right?
I mean, the way I've been explaining it to some people in the space here is like, this rug is nailed to the ground. It's not moving.
Yeah, and I think when we started this, we kind of put it as a 3-year plan, right? At the beginning of this year, and we're committed to make it happen, regardless of how many NFTs we sell next week on our pre-sale, right? Like for us, it's more about like, okay, we know some people are going to jump in early and they're going to benefit from starting early, right? Some people will probably wait on the side and see how things develop, and they'll wait a little bit longer, and that's fine for us. We'll keep building the games, we'll keep building the features, and eventually, again, it's the education phase, right? Like they'll jump in sooner or later.
And that's what people want to hear in this space right now. So absolutely, it's a good thing, I think, definitely. Let's talk about, so there's another part of this as well, and you've got Bit Heroes NFTs, which has a gameplay mechanic of its own. So can we talk about that a little bit, jump into that side of things and the actual NFTs? And these are coming out, we've got some important dates to drop out there as well. So tell us a bit more about this side of things, guys.
Yeah, I can touch a little bit on the high level, and then probably Donnie can expand. But basically, we're gonna have to types of NFTs in the game long term, in the universe long term. We have the heroes on one side, which are basically your avatars in this world. They're gonna be unique looking. So each one of them, it's gonna be completely unique. So people will get to know you eventually if you hold long enough and you play with it long enough, right? And those heroes are going to store progression, which is a big thing as well, right? Meaning that anything you gain in the games, it's going to be stored in your character, in your hero. So here's the digital asset ownership promise delivered, right? As a World of Warcraft player myself, and an MMORPG player, I always hated that I was never, like, my character was never mine, truly mine, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't sell it to anyone, or I couldn't give it to a friend. When I stopped playing, like, my character died. Thanks to blockchain now, that's not a problem anymore. I could either make some money, I could just give it to my little brother, he can keep playing, or to a friend, and keep that legacy alive. So I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
And then the others, sorry.
No. Sorry, I was just agreeing with you. Like, I think that ownership side of things is amazing. Like the idea of playing a game, running its course. Okay, I'm kind of bored of this now. Flip the assets, move them into another title, perhaps, or as you say, pass them down to somebody who wants to play, or even rent them out might be an option as well. It just makes sense, right? But sorry, go ahead. Interrupt.
Yeah, and then the other side of it is like the items, right, that are going to come in next year. And items is kind of the same principle, but applied to a smaller piece of the game, right? Whereas, hey, you can get the Sword of Justice, so to say, and it's a sword that it's going to be interoperable as well. You're going to be able to bring it to the other games. You're going to be able to, at the very least, see the cosmetic. So imagine, I don't know if you ever played World of Warcraft, but they were like very, very exclusive items that only a few people could earn, right? Like if you were the first guy in the PvP season, right? Like you got an exclusive reward. So now you're going to be able to, brag about it on every single game of the Bitverse, which is kind of cool as well, right? I think it's going to be fairly interesting to everyone.
That kind of interoperability is very important as well, and it gives the NFT a lot of utility as well, right? You can have a million games theoretically where this thing can be usable in. We seem to have lost Donnie again. I'm sorry, guys. Perhaps Max, you want to jump in there and talk about Bit Heroes a little bit?
Yeah,
he's back.
I mean,
Hang on 1 second.
Perfect.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Donnie, can you hear us?
Yes, it's a little garbled, but I think so. Yeah, I keep getting kicked for some reason. All right, sorry.
Sorry, man. So yeah, we were just talking about the Bit Hero NFTs, and Jorge was kind of outlining the utility of them and what they can do. So I just wanted to know if you've got any extras to add on to that around the kind of the NFT utility and that's the Bit Heroes.
We covered stored progression.
Progression. Okay. All right. You went over progression. Okay. That's probably the biggest perk right there, right? But there are other perks as well that the heroes will have. I think you probably mentioned they're all unique one-of-ones, so no one will have the same one, so everyone will have their own look to it. But you go beyond that, there's a lot of other perks that come along with it. In-game things you get access to. Eventually, we will launch season passes around the whole Bitverse, where we try to build a bigger story around the games. Jorge mentioned we're going to have 3 games this year, and we'll have future games. Like, we're going to build a story around those. There'll be tasks to do in each of the games. We'll have some staking bonuses that get applied for outside once we launch the BitPixel token. We'll have a staking pool, and NFT owners, especially the higher rarities, will get a bonus from the staking. There will be in-purchase bonuses you'll be able to get. Again, it will scale with rarity of the hero you get. So like you go to purchase the in-game currency gems, maybe you get a 10% bonus. If you have a epic level and at legendary level, it may go up to 20%, those type of things. We also are planning to, for this Gen 0, for the higher rarity ones, we're going to give a couple of our first NFT items. For those who have an epic and above, they will get an NFT pet that we will deliver to them that will provide an in-game bonus, particularly in Quest and probably the other games as well, depending on how the game functions. And then for legendary above, they will get an NFT mount that will be exclusive again to Gen 0 NFTs, and again will apply in-game bonuses.
Nice, very cool. So lots of interesting stuff coming. Max, anything to add on to that at all from your side?
I mean, that covers it. You know, we should talk about the other 2 games too. I mean, there's a lot. Oh, Jorge. Yeah.
I have one big thing which is that the only way to eventually earn the token is going to be through holding a hero in your account.
Aha, so you wouldn't be able to purchase the token on the market or anything. That's not a plan.
You'll be able to purchase the market, but if you want to earn it, as you know, through gameplay, right? Like you'll have to be part. Like you need a hero, an NFT hero.
Okay. So this NFT here, these NFTs are dropping, and right now, as we said earlier in the thing, we've got 2 common Bitverse NFTs and 10 allow list spots. And all you got to do is follow DappRadar on Twitter, retweet the live stream, tag a few friends, and you might be one of the lucky ones. So yeah, we've got some important dates here as well. The allow list is open, gentlemen. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. And when does that close, the allow list?
9/19, September 19th. Yep.
We've got 5 days until that's closing up, right? Okay, cool. All righty. We've got some interesting questions flying in, actually, a couple of questions. I'll get to those in a second. I just wanted to touch on so one last thing to kind of get out there, I think, before we kind of take some questions is, how can people reach out to you guys? I think you're a very interesting company with potentially some nice opportunities for people in this space as well. Like, how can people connect with you guys? And what kind of things do you offer? Maybe, I don't know, tell us, like, what's the best way for people to reach you? Is it Discord, Twitter? What's the best?
So I'm going to jump ahead there. First of all, we have our Web2 portal from old time. It's Kongregate.com. Max is leading the efforts to turn it into a Web3 project. It's a completely different thing.
I'll talk about that one. Yeah.
Incredibly cool. We'll talk about it in a sec. So you can go there. That's the old Kongregate, right? That it's going to get a refresh. Then we have the Bitverse.io, right? Which is a place where you can just go, get all the latest news on our Bitverse project. There's a link to our Medium blog. You can find links to a different social media. So that's Discord, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to follow us. And then if you want to follow myself, like I'm on Twitter as @JGEscuera. So that's my first capital names from my name and first surname, and then my second surname, which is a weird thing we do in Spain. And then I don't know if Max and Donnie have all their, I guess they have Twitter accounts as well.
Yeah.
Follow them.
Yeah. I'm at Max Murphy on Twitter. Early adopter. I got my name, right?
Easy.
Clever man. And Donnie?
Yeah, I don't use Twitter, so you can't follow me at Discord. I do get in the Bitverse Discord though, and I get on there as the Bit Viper, and I will communicate with people, and I read it. I read pretty much every post in our NFT channels, and I go through and respond to people.
I do the same for the Kongregate Discord. People are there, and there's
nice. So if people have got questions,
I interact directly. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. Okay, so Max, I want to ask you about. So you're working on Kongregate as a website that you've just outlined there. Tell us more about kind of what you're doing there, and what's the. I guess it's kind of like the difference between the Bitverse and Kongregate. I guess
right. Well, exactly. The Bitverse is a product of Kongregate. Kongregate is the company we all work for, obviously. And the Kongregate web portal, like I was saying earlier, everything from Web 2.0 to Web 3, like all the parallels that we're drawing between them, really fit the platform. So we're with our partner Immutable X, we've launched a $40 million game development fund. If we got any makers in the audience and you're interested, bd@kongregate.com to reach out on that front regarding the development grant pool. And we're really retooling the platform. Like I said, in 2019, we started doing some, proof of technology. That system has been live for years. People have been trading ERC20 tokens, which are blocks. And also people have been interacting with NFTs, which are stickers on the site right now. And those are there, transactable. We have an open marketplace. So that really that ignited the flame here, and we saw the interaction users had with that. And while the technology was still not quite there, we were getting there, and now the technology is getting there. So we're just going all in, changing everything over. Full tokenized platform where developers can bring games, publish them. We provide mechanisms for IAP, fiat onboarding, all that great stuff that you need, so you can just build a game. And that's what our core mission is here, is to make people think about the game more than the blockchain, while using the blockchain the whole time. Yeah.
Nice. So it's abstracting away that kind of Web3 difficulty and letting the teams focus on building games. And you guys provide the infrastructure to onboard, to make fiat access easy. Very nice. This sounds like a great...
everything we did in the microtransaction world when you look at our cred system that we've had for over a decade, it's direct parallel to a tokenized world.
A token, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, just building upon that and integrating it into Web3 because it fits so well and it brings new life to it. And it also, reduces friction for Web3 game devs that want to get into Web3 and don't want to start with, wallet connections and all the fun stuff that we all take for granted, right? Like, Magic Link, MoonPay, all those great things. Like, as a 3-man shop, we wouldn't be able to sign up and get all that done while making a game. So let's remove that issue and that boilerplate and let people focus on the fun and not the tokens.
For sure. I think obviously being at DappRadar, we see that a lot of games launch and that the user experience and the onboarding is one of the most difficult things. That any challenge right now is about user onboarding. Some games are just losing people within the first 5 seconds almost. It's really difficult. And I think there's a lot of Web 2 lessons that you guys are probably really familiar with here that you're adopting. Some projects I speak to are kind of like, they don't like Web 2. But I kind of say, Web 2 nailed some really good things, right? So we shouldn't just leave them in the background. Very interesting, guys. So you're in, this is a process thing. Sorry, Jorge, go on.
No, I was going to say I completely agree with you on the onboarding part, because we've all seen that. We have all suffered from that. I think it's not uncommon for a Web2 game to lose 50-60% of the players in the first 5 minutes, right?
Exactly.
It's actually a very common thing. So and Web3 is even more challenging, right? Like one of the things that Max, Donnie, and I and the whole team has been working on a lot when we were building the Bitverse.io, and the allow this process and the presale flow. Like it's like, how can we make this almost seamless to the player, right? At the very least, just to buy an NFT, and then you need to think about like, okay, how are the games going to connect to the blockchain, right?
Yeah.
To read the wallet, to know the hero that you hold, and then how they're going to render that hero in the game, and how like it's just it's the amount of work that
it's giving you a headache
crazy.
About
And what I'm very happy about is that we are game developers. Like maybe some people having less time with us, but we have people who've been working for a very long time on this, and it took us like a good 6 months to figure things out properly. And I'm sure we can still do much better. So when I see a lot of these other projects that come out, like lots of folks have nothing to do with games, right? And they're telling that they're going to have like an amazing game in 6 months, and everything's going to be so good. Sorry, I got a laugh about it,
It's ridiculous, right? One of the I was speaking to some investors last week who invest in kind of gaming projects, and they were saying they get two types of teams that are interested in tokenomics but don't really understand games, and teams that are interested in games and don't really understand tokenomics. And it seemed like this kind of, let's put these two together, right? But I don't think they're that keen to be together. It's a different kind of atmosphere out there right now, right? But just thinking about that and thinking about onboarding, and I just want to shift over some questions that we've had thrown in, because one of them is very relevant to this, I think. And data-wise, we are seeing this. But do you think games will lead to the mass adoption of Web3? Now, data would suggest we're getting there. What do you guys think? Give us your interpretations right now.
I think it'll be a large contributor. Similar to how we see the game vertical within like the app stores on Apple and Google, how it started out small and it grew, but all the other products and services also grew along with it. So we'll see maybe gaming at the forefront, and then after that, every other industry is going to exceed gaming. Is my current prediction.
Nice. Yeah. Interesting, Max. Donnie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there will be two that lead the way. I think gaming is going to be one of them, and I think the other one will be the tokenization of real world assets. All the people that sell like collectibles, like let's say sneakers, all that kind of stuff, and having tokenization of sneakers, and they get traded that way instead of getting sent through UPS through the mail back and forth and paying all the high fees and everything for marketplaces. I think it'll be tokenization of those real world assets in gaming that lead the way, and DeFi type projects will be there under the radar moving up, but I think they're going to take longer for mass adoption of that. And then the other area I think will be around the concept of contracts. But again, I think that's longer down the road as well.
That kind of tokenization of real world stuff relies heavily on smart contract upgrades and improvements there. So that's an interesting thing. I'm with you, Donnie, on that, by the way. I love that side of blockchain, that real world implementation. I love that. I think it's what we came into this scene for. It's what I came into this for anyway. And maybe we got a bit distracted over the last 5 years, right? Jorge, what were you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm thinking, along the lines of Max and Donnie, and, just when you look about like where are most of the investments in gaming going to, like I think 60 to 70% of those are falling under blockchain companies, right? And that just tells you where people are envisioning things to go and happen, right? I'm particularly interested also in music, right? I think the tokenization of music and like limited albums, which is already happening.
Yes.
It's also a great use case for this, right? I have a friend who invests in real estate, and he was telling me that also for, the contracts for their, different properties and rental agreements and all that, like it's going to be amazing, and he's super excited about it, and maybe he can hold, give the keys through the contract and make the whole thing a lot easier. But we can all see use cases across almost every industry. So I do agree that, what Max and Donnie were saying before, like this feels almost like a revolution, right?
Yeah. Really interesting. All three of you guys are touching on real world implementation as well, and not kind of blue sky craziness, like this kind of, and as I said, I really love that real world tokenization of assets. Again, what you guys said at the beginning, it makes sense. And these are the things I want to see kind of develop further and further in the future. Okay, got another question here. It's a little bit about onboarding. Let me bring this up and see if we can kind of define this a little bit. So what are the Web3 arrangements for synchronizing with mobile phones? MetaMask has crashed on Android 12, right? Okay, so the question here is what we were talking about prior. And I think maybe focus on, particularly with your games, how are people accessing them currently in Web3? What is the kind of process they have to do currently?
Max, do you want to touch on that one, or I can take
sure
it
thing. We're making our onboarding process as simple as possible. We obviously don't develop MetaMask, so
can't really do
mobile
that,
industry is kind of in a weird state right now, right? Like nobody wants to be involved with crypto, but everyone wants to invest in crypto, right? Like that's the space we're in right now. So I think our whole path here is like seamless onboarding. It's web first right now, mobile on its way. We've been testing so many different methodologies of linking your Kongregate account to your wallet, and then you don't need to go down the path of getting a wallet on mobile, etc., to play the game on mobile, because you have signed and given us authorization to interrogate your wallet via Kongregate when you log into the game. So it's kind of this like disconnected but connected world when you get into mobile, until all the app store regulations kind of settle down. I think Epic's going to lead the charge on that with saying Web3, come onto our platform, please.
Yeah, I kind of see that too. We're in a bit of a transitional period right now where everybody's trying to figure out the tech and how it works correctly and how it can be potential. I don't know, like we're not there yet. It's a good question, but I think it's not something that these guys particularly have much control over. I wouldn't say. You guys can do as much as you can do to make it easy, but there's still a whole world below it that can add complication that you don't control, right? So it's
until we get to the point that we build those products and services, like we're dealing with the best that we find in the world, right? And that's the third-party provider tenant that we have, is like, let's choose the best one we can for our users, like regardless. Like if someone comes in with a lower price, I don't care, it's going to be better for the user this way.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's so good, it's so smart. And how about the kind of NFT trading aspect side of things? I mean, I'm just thinking about this, like in the future, NFT trading, would you have a native marketplace? Would you use it? You said you're on Immutable X, right? So would you tap into one of their marketplaces, or would you build your own? Or because I'm guessing like trading volume is not important to you guys as such, right?
Not as much. I mean, it's proving the technology to the user, getting the users onboarded and playing the games and having fun, right? This is the and you can do all this kind of proposition to gamers for us, right? Because we're trying to onboard them into this world. We're not saying, come in, spend a bunch on NFTs, and maybe a few years from now you'll play a game, right?
Yeah.
So with all that said, like our whole just onboarding, like it's all onboarding is what it comes down to.
Yeah. And I think when you were talking about trading role and marketplaces, eventually we probably will develop our own marketplace. I think that's out of the question. It's probably going to be a Kongregate.com marketplace coming somewhere in 2023. Today we are integrated with IMX, right? Which means people can just go and sell their NFTs and trade them on IMX, and IMX has like their order book technology, right? That basically
the shared order book will propagate out to all the marketplaces running with them, and then You can exit your NFT from L2 into L1 and put it on OpenSea. So there's,
and then also the way we're building this, like we started with heroes, right? And we don't really expect people to trade them a lot. Maybe at the beginning there's going to be a lot of trading because, hey, I want the one that has like this type of ears or this cosmetic or whatever thing, right?
I want the watermelon slice sword so bad, dude.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of trading probably at the beginning, but then it's probably going to slow down because, you know, the way that you're going to kind of influx the most value into your NFT hero is by playing with the games, right? Again, going back to the game first approach, because everything you collect, all your progress is going to get stored in it, you know, and people have spent sometimes in Bit Heroes, like, I don't know, thousands of dollars, right? And that's value that you're just putting into it every single day. So when you resell it eventually, you know, it will be more valuable. So that's the type of asset that the heroes are, and then items will probably be a lot more transactional in that regard, right? Because you change items more frequently, you move through different zones, games, etc. So you will need different types of items. So we expect that to be the ones that get highly transacted.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, cool. So you released a little bit of information there. 2023, you said there might be a marketplace, guys. Someone was listening.
I'm putting Max on the spot there.
we peel a little bit of the wallpaper back every time we talk about the platform plans and what's coming. You know, we have it all planned, but you know, it's first. You know, our plan in the Web3 space is like, of course, web first, then you know, figure out how to get to mobile, and you know, our platform is going to, I feel, be a huge component in that. Not to release too many details.
But I think one thing we didn't mention for the marketplace is not only to have our own marketplace and sell on there, but also we'll have better control over being able to represent the in-game progression and items and stuff that the heroes accumulate, like Jorge was saying. And we have visions of even starting to record like achievements. So if someone uses their hero and wins first place in some big leaderboard, like that would get added to like the achievements of that hero and almost like build their renown type of thing. And so then we actually can start to label those particular NFTs. Hey, this one was a champion one, regardless of its rarity, whether it was mythic or common. Hey, this one has been used as a champion in X, Y, and Z tournament. And I think having our marketplace would enable us to do that more easily, to almost build like pages, if you will, for some of the particular characters there and really start to flesh out the story.
It's really important add-on there, actually. Yeah, like a chat. Yeah, like adding that extra metadata, as it were, that's only valuable inside that particular title. I think that's really strong. Very strong. You mentioned tournaments there as well, and we just had a question. Are we going to see any tournaments in the near future? I guess is what they're asking. Like, and it's something that's kind of happening right now in crypto. We're seeing teams forming and things like this. Like, how do you guys see this in the future?
Yes, there are going to be tournaments. Bit Heroes Arena, which is a game that is coming up next month. It's going to have a tournament feature built into it. So yes, there's going to be tournaments. And Bit Heroes Arena is a battle royale type of game. So think of Fortnite, think of Brawl Stars if you play on mobile, right? And you know, you add a couple of touches of MOBA-like gameplay, like, you know, League of Legends. And you get what we have in our hands, which is a really interesting game, I think.
Yes.
In addition, they're not quite the level of tournaments, but we do plan, like in Quest, to introduce a new mode for NFT owners of 1v1 bets. So like one versus one tournament style with bit pixels that you can put on the line, and the winner takes most, if not all.
Pretty cool. Like a little hyper casual part of the bigger picture, right? That's nice. I like that. Nice. We had a question here. We did answer it, but I just wanted to make sure this person definitely gets their answer. So one can earn tokens by holding an NFT in the game. That is correct, gentlemen. Yes.
I wouldn't say maybe holding. Holding may not be the right word. By playing in the game, by utilizing them in the game, there will be ways to earn tokens. For example, you go compete in the arena game each day, and when you get your first win, you would earn tokens. Or in Runner, there might be certain tokens that if you have skill, you'd be able to earn while running through the different levels and get to. So I don't know, I would say holding in-game, but by playing in-game for sure.
It's definitely not passive earning. You need to interact with the game world.
Yes. Yeah, Donnie, you nailed that, because that's an important nuance there as well, isn't it? And Max, as you say, it's not about just holding it and not participating in the game community. You've got to be active. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, and now these are really on the back in the laboratory, if you will. But we've talked about maybe some smaller mini type games that are a little more passive. I wouldn't say they'd be completely passive, but maybe a little more passive ways to earn some tokens or governance tokens or something in the future that's a little bit more passive. Maybe you could do while you're on vacation or something like that. Maybe not playing the game quite as much, that type of thing. But again, that's in the back labs and hasn't been unveiled yet.
That's kind of nice as well, like putting little mini plots in there as well. Just got another question. It's a pretty big one, and actually I am going to answer it a little bit, and then I'm going to let you guys answer it. So Mike is saying, thanks. And regarding trust building, how can people trust blockchain projects? How Web3 can handle the trust part? In the past few years, we've seen many scams through blockchain projects. Mike, you are not wrong. And I just want to touch on the fact that that's why we are here right now. You are looking at 3 people that run the company, that provide this project, that are working on this project. You have the ability to assess their personalities, their facial recognition. You can do everything. That's why we're here. You saw us talk about these guys with their decades of history in gaming. These are bits of information that you can use to your advantage. That's why we do these. So I just wanted to add that little bit, but you guys maybe want to jump in and add some thoughts around that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, to echo, everything you said. Also, I mean, I'm here. Remember recently in the past, 6 months, like fully doxed leads on the project and all that coming out. It's like, I jump into this world. Everyone knows who I am. Like, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me anywhere. You can find Kongregate on the web. You can find Kongregate on the Internet Archive, 15 years of history, right? So we're like I said, being the best citizens that we can in this world and trying to lift everyone up around us. It's going to take, rising seas, right? So.
Yeah.
And you, to be honest, you nailed it with your rug is nailed to the floor.
Like, nailed to the floor. Like, Kongregate's not going anywhere. This is a project that we have a long roadmap for, just like any other gaming project that we've built. Look at some of our titles, Animation Throwdown, 5 years, 6 years. I mean, it's been out for quite a while. New IP coming out in that one all the time. So like, we live service our games for a long life cycle, and we're adding technology to what we do already. So that's how we are bringing trust.
There's that component of also like, use your best judgment a lot of the times. Like, if you go to someone, someone's kicking off a project and you go to their LinkedIn profiles, it's been just recently created, or they have no games experience. Like, those kind of things should ring an alarm, right? And sometimes something that I really look forward lately, it's like, do these guys have at least a prototype of a game, right? That resembles what they're talking about. Max was talking about the Kongregate.com fund that we got from IMX, right? Like, we have 40 million for developers. Both Max and I, we got thousands of mails from people every single day pitching their projects, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions that I asked them is like, do you guys have a prototype of this thing? Because otherwise it's just like, it's thin air.
It's just words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's vaporware, right? So for me, that's...
You've got like a big stack of white papers there, right? And
and if you've been working on games, sorry to finish there. If you've been working on games or you have some games experience, like, to be honest, putting together a prototype takes 3 to 4 months. Something that really looks like the game, right?
Yeah. Shows that dedication to the project, right, as well. So, I think... Sorry, go on, Max.
Jorge covered it.
I think it's... what we're touching on here is the idea that how can people be sure in this space? And I'd say the top level answer is you really cannot ever be 100% sure, but in the same way, you can't 100% 100% be sure about many things. You have to do your homework, you have to do your research, and that extends far beyond just reading a white paper or seeing a flashy video on YouTube or something like that. I think you've got to, as I said at the beginning, things like this, understanding the people that are behind the projects, looking at the, and then you can dive even deeper if you understand how to use
the same state that, say, Kickstarter was in 4 or 5 years ago in the gaming space, right? Like, didn't they even stop funding certain kinds of projects because of these exact things? So, I mean, blockchain or not, it's going to be rampant as long as somebody can hide behind the internet, right? So,
strong point, Max. Very strong, very strong. All right, guys. I think it's we've covered everything pretty much, but I want to give the last opportunity to you to maybe talk about the NFT drop, give people the important dates, let people know what the kind of call to actions here after they've watched us talking. What can people do right now? Who wants to cover that?
I can start here. As we mentioned earlier, the allow list is open right now. You can go on, sign up. In addition, you are able to go on and place a reservation if you are interested, to make sure if there was a particular portal, which is the word we use for pack. If there's a particular pack of heroes you're interested in, feel free to go on there and make a reservation to make sure you lock that in and get it. We close the allow list on the 19th. So as you mentioned, 5 days from now, we'll be announcing folks who make the allow list the following day on the 20th. On the 22nd is when the pre-sale officially launches, with folks on the allow list are able to go on and start purchasing portals. And when they get their portal NFT, they'll be able to immediately open the portal and reveal their hero. They'll, of course, burn the portal and get another hero, and instead they'll be able to get that. And then the public sale starts 24 hours later on the 23rd.
Good. All right. Thank you, Donnie. Good timeline there. Guys, anything else to add on top? Any other calls to action you'd like people to kind of jump in? Obviously, play the games, but anything else?
Yeah, I think on my side, my call to action will be to follow us closely, right? Even if you don't join the allow list, we are launching a couple of games in the next 3 months. Plus, we have the original one that you can already play. Download from Apple or Google, or go to Kongregate.com to play it, and to get a sense of what we're doing here, right? And that will be it for me.
Nice. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a nice call. I think it's all the time we've got for this week. I'd want to say thank you to all for taking time out of your days and coming sharing information with us, with DappRadar's community. And I really look forward to seeing how it rolls out for you guys in the coming weeks and months. I'll be watching, and I'm sure we'll speak again, actually, as well. But don't forget, we're still streaming, and there are 2 common Bitverse NFTs and 10 allow list spots up for grabs. All you got to do is follow DappRadar on Twitter and retweet the live stream. So we're still live. You can still do it. Tag a few friends and see if you are one of the lucky ones. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed our conversation. As I say, I wish you the best of luck moving forward. And thank you so much for joining me. And we'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Ian.
Great. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll put all the links that were dropped out there today, everything we discussed, all the links to everything. We'll put that in the video description. So everything's there for you guys. Don't worry, you don't have to go hunting around.
Did you manage to fix the video issue so we can show the trailer, or?
I would really love to, but I'm a bit scared that if I try and do it, the whole thing is going to fall down. But give me 1 second. Let's have one last go and see if we can do that.
Let's go out with the blaze.
Let's go out with a crash, right? Let's see if we can do that. Okay, 1 second.
See if
you know what, guys? I have an idea. Let's all turn off our cameras and let me put this one, and let's see if that helps us.
Yes!
Woohoo!
Look at that. We made it.
Come back, guys. Come back. Come back.
All right.
That was really cool. That was really cool.
Every time I see it, I love it so much.
That really ramps me up. So who's the real like bit lover here then? Who's behind the graphics of this thing, guys? Like who's driving this? It's awesome.
So there's a lot of people behind that. To be honest, we grew to almost 60 people working across the 3 games. So lots of people. And but you know, our art director, his name is Felipe. But to be honest, he's continuing the art style from the original creators who are no longer with Kongregate. But yeah, we all love it. We all know what it is. Like sometimes we've had like some artists producing something different, like something that looks like you know, it's like beat art, but you very quickly know like that doesn't belong to this universe. And what's very cool is, you know, we've had like, I don't know, steampunk variations of this, like space and sci-fi. We've had like, and like super colorful to really like fantasy medieval like stuff, and you really know when it fits. And it's a very particular art style. It's super interesting.
I like that though, because you know what you like, right? You're very clear on what you like, so that's a good thing to have as well, right? Oh, I'm glad we got to do that, and I'm sorry it went wrong at the beginning, and also, guys, very sorry for the technical issues. We're doing a live show; it does happen. We're all in different countries around the world, different times, different internet qualities. This is how it goes. But main point, I think we nailed it, guys. All right, so. As I said before, we're still live. We're still live for a little bit longer, and I'm going to give you another 45 seconds as well because I've got another video to play about a DappRadar product that's launching. So yeah, we're still streaming. You got to just follow DappRadar on Twitter, share the video, tag a couple of friends, and you might win yourself an NFT. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure today. I'm going to end it with a little video we've got for a DappRadar product. And then, yes, I hopefully will get to speak to you all at another point in time in the future. Best of luck with everything you're doing, all right?
Thank you.
Take care, gentlemen.
The Dapp.
Ooh. Technical issues a lot today, guys. All right, I'm going to ask you all to drop out, and then I've got a little video to play, all right?
Great, thank you. See ya.
Bye, guys. All right, so we're still live, and I want to show you this, and this gives you that extra 45 seconds to go and retweet this and get your chance to win an NFT, all right? So don't waste it. Don't waste it.
The DappRadar mobile is now ready for users to try. You can find it on the Google Play Store now. Sign in. And access all the features you love, with Pro members having access to enhanced benefits. From tracking your favorite dapps, keeping track of your portfolio, exploring NFTs, and even more. Available